Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The conclusions of the World Leaders meeting in Davos just 10 days ago have put future-proofing of industry right back at the center of the policy debate in Europe. The Green Deal industrial plan announced by President von der Leyen, coupled with the Net Zero Industry Act, and indeed also taking into account the US commitment to human-centric industry, really means that digital industry and technology policy now have a renewed emphasis. So it is a pleasure to address this Congress today on the Industry 5.0 approach to digitalization of industry by capitalizing on flexible and adaptable technologies. Digitalization, as we know, is transforming European industry, indeed transforming industry globally, accelerating production processes, and indeed changing the role of workers. I think the original target of digitalization, I think it's fair to say, was to increase efficiency and productivity. And this transformation was brought about by Industry 4.0. However, in recent years, we have seen the environment becoming more complicated with raw material issues, and more recently the COVID pandemic and the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So increasingly, it has been clear that the digitalization of industry approach based solely on productivity improvement was not sufficient. So really what Industry 5.0 is doing, it's not a revolution, it's taking forward these ideas, and in particular it is putting the worker more center stage in the process of digitalization. By involving workers in the process, making the digitalization process more inclusive. And in this way also using digital technologies to help to address the challenges of resilience, the greater challenge the industry now has to face up to the more complex environment that it faces. And also using these technologies and putting them to good use to support sustainability of industry. So in essence, Industry 5.0 is about recognizing the power of industry to achieve societal goals that go beyond the factory work floor and become once again a resilient provider of growth and prosperity for our economy and society, while at the same time respecting planetary boundaries and ensuring that the well-being of the worker is taken into account. Let me say something first of all about the role of the worker, the human-centric dimension. What we're talking about really is a shift from a technology-driven to a human-centric approach, which puts the worker center stage, sees the worker as an investment for the company, not simply as a mere cost, and looks at developing technologies and applying technologies that, in addition to supporting the drive toward digitalization, can also enhance workers' capacities and foster their creativities as active players in the process of digitalization of industry. And this is becoming a very important issue for industry, because industry now faces competition for the scarce skill sets of people who have these digital skills. And more we're seeing that people of this generation coming onto the jobs market, they want employers who share their values, who offer not only a job, but also high-quality opportunities for skills development and for developing their own capacities and creativity. So this is where we see the human-centric dimension being critical. In relation to the sustainability dimension, we see this as a way in which industry can contribute by the appropriate use of digital technologies to increasing resource efficiency, to helping in the challenge of climate change by doing better with less. This involves applying technologies to adopt full life cycles perspectives. And for us in particular, we see this as contributing to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, in particularly in relation to industry innovation and infrastructure, and also in relation to responsible consumption and production. And increasingly important, in view of the developments of the last number of years, is helping industry to become more resilient, to be able to adapt, to be more flexible as conditions change, as supply chains become more difficult to manage. So being able to respond better to unexpected geopolitical issues, or indeed to the climate challenges. And this means applying digital technologies in a flexible and adaptable way that allows the company to have the flexibility, the agility to be more resilient. And this, again, requires having appropriate skill sets. It also involves revisiting supply chains and looking at how these can be managed in a way that they will not be disrupted by unexpected changes in market conditions. And this also helps to reinforce the societal role of industry. Industry being a reliable employer, a valuable employer, offering long-term career prospects, but also playing an important part in the wider society around us. So maybe in summary, what we can say about Industry 5.0 and why we think it's important. First of all, focus on the human-centric dimension. Empowering workers so that they can really play their role in the digitalization process. This involves adapting skills for evolving situations so that the worker becomes a part of an ongoing lifelong skills development process. And also using digitalization in a way that improves safety and well-being of the worker. This is the way in which industry can be competitive by attracting the best digital talents that are coming onto the market. Also, it will help to reduce costs by improving resource efficiency. And overall, we see this as helping industry to gain a competitive edge and develop new markets. So, in summary, we see Industry 5.0 as a solution provider for companies, but also for people, as workers and as citizens, and for our whole planet. We recognize that industry is in the lead with regard to Industry 5.0, but there is an important policy role. And we're engaged in that very much at European level and across the member states of the European Union. And we recognize that this will require joined-up policy making involving areas like environment for secondary materials markets, education, employment and social to ensure proper skills at all levels, at vocational level, but also in the workplace, and also ensuring that Industry 5.0 is an inclusive process. And this also means taking account of regional disparities and making sure that those regions that face major transitions can go through them effectively. It also implies that the focus of taxation policy will need to change. And of course, it has implications for technology policy, for research and innovation, towards developing technologies in a human-centric way. And in that regard, we have been influenced very much by a number of research projects funded at European level under the Horizon 2020 programme. I'll just highlight three. First of all, the Beyond 4.0 project, which took a long view and it looked at the impact that new technologies were having on jobs, on business models, and on welfare. So this had a significant influence on us in the approach we took to Industry 5.0. Secondly, the Human Manufacturing Project, which demonstrated ways in which factory workers and automation could be brought together and work in harmony, so increasing productivity and quality, performance, but also job satisfaction and safety in the workplace. And thirdly, the Cycles 4.0 project, which brought together cyber-physical systems, product cycle management, and showed how digital technologies can really be applied to transform the way in which we go about circular manufacturing. We were really quite impressed with the way Industry 5.0 has taken off in little over 2 years since we launched the concept. This graphic shows Google Scholar hits in relation to Industry 5.0 in comparison with Industry 4.0. And we can see that in academic and in research terms, Industry 5.0 has picked up very fast. It has attracted a great deal of academic interest. And we think this is positive. Secondly, we're seeing it across industry and society more widely. And I would like to congratulate Momenta Venture Capital on the launch of their Industry 5.0 fund. For certain, bringing Momenta's track record of strategic support, coupled with its long support of startup companies, really will give a boost and a support to the entrepreneurs who are now starting up their businesses to try and capture and ride on the wave of human-centric, resilient and sustainable industry. Secondly, EIT manufacturing. The European Institute of Technology has adapted its flagships to bring them into line with Industry 5.0, in particular in relation to human centricity and resilience. And also we're seeing across Europe that universities are developing dedicated Industry 5.0 models in their postgraduate programs. We see this in Germany, in Poland, in Slovenia, for example. And at European level, we have had a very significant opinion from the Independent Advisory Group on the economic and social impact of research. And this has pointed to the fact that Industry 5.0 needs to be at the heart of the transformation that we need to make in our industry and our economy and society in order to adapt to the new conditions we face now. In April of last year, we brought together a roundtable of industry leaders to get their input on Industry 5.0 in the light of the work that the ESIR group had done. And they very much confirmed the view that Industry 5.0 was the best way forward, that we needed to engage much more with bringing the workers into the process of digitalization. And indeed, we continue to rely on Industry 5.0 projects under our Horizon Europe program to guide us on the way forward. And two in particular I would like to highlight. First of all, the project on upskilling of industry for the 5.0 rollout. And this project is looking very much at how industry skills and automation and workers can all be brought together to achieve this kind of skill set that is needed for Industry 5.0. And the Bridges 5.0 project is looking at what needs to be done, how worker skills need to be upgraded in order to really be able to capitalize on the changes that lie ahead and on the challenges of more resilient, more human-centric industry. In particular, I'd like to refer to the first ever Industry 5.0 award that was launched last year and was completed at the end of the year. We thought 18 months after the start of the concept, we would not have much interest. In fact, there were more than 60 applicants. The standard was very high. Our jury of distinguished individuals had a hard job to identify the winner. But the winner in the end was a project called RAMP PV. It's a project which is led by a French startup and is focusing on innovative PV cycle recycling, basically taking scarce raw materials like silicon and silver and recycling them. So it is contributing to resilience by reducing the dependence on raw materials. It is supporting sustainability by allowing these raw materials to be reused, and it is contributing to human centricity by using machines to reduce the burden on workers and ensuring a safe working environment. We had two runners-up, Sherlock, which is focused on human-centric collaborative robots, and it is very much taking the human-centric dimension at its heart by allowing these collaborative robots to work in the same space as workers and allow workers to work in a safe environment. It is also contributing to sustainability by developing a new process that reduces the use of materials, and it is also supporting resilience by allowing these collaborative robots to adapt the way in which the the production process works, and in that way to increase the efficiency and the flexibility of the workplace. The other runner-up was a project called Sequoia, which is focusing on cybersecurity and industrial resilience. And it is very much focused on how cybersecurity can be used to make the workplace safer and therefore more human-centric. Also increasing resilience by having a stronger emphasis on cybersecurity, and increasing sustainability by the effective use of cybersecurity. So now as we look ahead to the next phase of Industry 5.0, we're very much focused on how we can use our framework program, the Horizon Europe, to enhance the rollout of Industry 5.0. I highlight 3 projects that are in the current calls for 23-24. First of all, one that is looking at the drivers and success factors for progress towards Industry 5.0. And it is in particular looking at existing companies which are engaged in the process of moving to Industry 5.0 and how they can really, how we can learn what works for them and where the elements are where Industry 5.0 creates bottlenecks, and therefore where policy can intervene to help to address these bottlenecks. Secondly, we're looking at developing a number of pilots across Europe, across a number of different sectors that will address different sectors and look at how we can apply Industry 5.0 principles in different settings, from startups to SMEs to larger companies. And so this will help us to inform our approach to supporting Industry 5.0 in the future. And the third project is in relation to extended virtual reality for Industry 5.0. And here what we're looking at is how we can capitalize on extended reality in order to help companies to be more human-centric and to, in this way, to support the company's journey towards Industry 5.0. We're also looking at a number of other initiatives at European level. First of all, we plan to put in place a community of practice to bring together all the pioneers of Industry 5.0 to understand what their experience to date is, to get their guidance on what is needed to be done in practice at policy level to really put Industry 5.0 into effect. And as this goes on, we see this community of practice developing and becoming much stronger. Secondly, we're looking at developing a prototype for an Industry 5.0 regenerative business model. One of the key recommendations to us from the meeting of the industry leaders was that we need to have put in place metrics in order to allow companies to chart their journey towards Industry 5.0 and to understand how they're doing and what impact this is having. So the intention is to develop this model, which will allow us to gather, first of all, metrics at company level, and then out of that to aggregate this to get messages about how Industry 5.0 can best be taken forward. Thirdly, we plan to have a further edition of the Industry 5.0 award. Given that Industry 5.0 now will be further down the road, we expect to have a much wider range of applicants, and we look forward to another strong competition, which will help us again to identify the most challenging, most interesting pioneers of Industry 5.0. And then towards the end of the year, we plan to bring together industry leaders again to have a second roundtable to take stock with them of how Industry 5.0 is progressing, to validate with them the first results of our regenerative business model canvas, and to plot the next steps ahead for Industry 5.0. So, ladies and gentlemen, Industry 5.0 has gone a long way in the first 2 years, and we think now that we're looking ahead to the stage of scale up and assessing the impact and really making Industry 5.0 broadly relevant right across industry in Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Sean for his keynote. I hope you find it interesting. This concludes our opening of the event. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you on the floor. Thank you.